Hi guys, this is Chris here from Donnelly Mitsubishi, and today I'd like to talk a little bit about the tariffs, the tariff war that's happening with Canada in US, what's happening with that on a day-to-day basis as well too. So today we're March 10th, 2025, and Trump right now has put a pause on the tariffs. It started with just the auto industry, now there's just an overall pause on the tariffs. So the biggest question is, how is it going to affect the auto industry, and why is there a pause that's going on right now? So the easiest thing is that it's just simply going to make the cost of everything go higher up. And the biggest question is why, and why is there a pause? So it's going to go up because a lot of the parts go through the States and through Mexico. So for example, a vehicle could cross borders between Canada and the US on an average of 4 to 7 times. Now, there are a lot of processes that's a lot less and a lot more. So I'm going to give you one example. Now, this is on a company called Linamar. It's one of the biggest parts manufacturing company in North America, and their headquarters is currently in Guelph. So I'm going to talk about the steps involved, and this is just one example, and there are multiple examples of how a vehicle would cross borders multiple times before the vehicle is actually finished. So step one. So Linamar, it's an auto parts maker in Guelph, and it's got metal, scrap metal on site. And then so it sends that metal to a smelter in Pennsylvania. So step two, that steel is actually melted and it's sent to an Ohio company to make a part called a hub. Step three, that hub is then sent back to Guelph where it's assembled into another part. And in this example, a clutch plate. And that plate is used in a transmission assembly. Step four, so that Ontario factory also imports aluminum housing from Mexico, and it assembles those parts into a module. Step five, so Linamar then sends those parts to a plant in Midwestern US where they're a part of an assembly of a transmission. Step six, so those transmissions are then sent from the Midwest plant in the US to a plant in Ontario where it's then assembled and put into vehicles. So those vehicles are then, some of them are kept right in Canada, some of them are sent right into the States. Again, this is just one example of a part that's being sent across borders from Canada to US to Mexico. And there are so many examples of that. So guys, as the thread was going on with the tariffs, there's currently a pause. That pause started with the auto industry. Now there's a pause on all the tariffs. So the big question that's being asked right now is, why is there a current pause, a 30-day pause specifically on tariffs? So the biggest reason is 3 giant corporations went up to Trump and really pleaded their case. So the 3 companies that have won up to Trump are Ford, Stellantis, and GM. So they pleaded their case because, again, it's very complicated if you're just moving parts back and forth across the border. Again, the example of Linamar is just one of many examples. So they pleaded their case to Ford to stop the tariffs. We don't believe Trump is going to stop the tariffs completely, but it's on pause. And their biggest reason is that they're trying to see if they can completely move everything to the States rather than it going back and forth across the borders. So what's nice is that companies like Linamar, for example, have flat out said that they will not move their production to the States. So again, what's going to happen from there? They may go to other manufacturers, other distributors, and that in turn will bring up the cost of parts. One other thing that could happen that we're hearing, so again, with the Donnelly Auto Group, we've got Kia, Mitsubishi, Ford, and Lincoln. And what we're hearing from Kia is that their Telluride, for example, that's completely built in the States, will just stop coming to the US, stop coming to Canada from the US. The other vehicles like Sportages, Sorrentos, for example, that could potentially be, or that are being produced in the US, will just come redirected from Korea instead. This is a major, major domino effect because a lot of manufacturers, a lot of brands have their vehicles produced in the US, in Canada, but again, they're crossing the borders multiple times. So we're not sure what's going to happen. Again, this is March 10th, 2025. There are updates that's being thrown at us almost on a daily basis. So I will try to give more updates consistently as we get more updates ourselves from the manufacturers, from the government, and from the Canadian Vehicle Manufacturer Association, which is CVMA. So if you guys have any questions, please let us know. I will cite my sources in the link below, and I'll cite one of the examples of how you can see the parts going back and forth across the borders. Because again, a lot of people don't know that. A lot of people don't know why the pauses are happening. Everyone is thinking it's just a temporary relief, but it's not really that. The pause is just a way for them to figure out how to separate the work that's being done in the 3 different countries between Canada, US, and Mexico. So if you guys have any questions, let us know. And again, I will give more updates as they get known to us as well. Thanks for your time, guys. It's Chris here from Donnelly Mitsubishi, located at 492 Terry Fox Drive.